You need to build a business first before you buy any inventory. Just like if you're starting a convenience store or, a brick and mortar store, you need to make sure your business can run. You have the right people in place, you have the right, let's say, funding in place or whatever it might be, but you got all the right aspects of your business before you buy any inventory.
Welcome back, passionate investors. I'm your host, George Roberts, the author of Passionate Living Through Passive Investing. And today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Dustin Heiner, founder of the powerhouse brand Master Passive Income. Today, we will talk about several themes that complement the passionate living lifestyle, starting with the fact that he retired at 37 and hasn't looked back, enjoying a life of adventure, travel, and connection with the most important people in his life. He's the author of several books, including, not surprisingly, Successfully Unemployed. And now it's time to introduce our exciting guest. Welcome to the show, Dustin.
What's up? Thank you so much for having me on the show,
All
George.
right. Well, hey, I want to talk about authorship directly. So, how has becoming an author, how has that changed your life? How has it changed your career?
Being an author is so amazing because even though Amazon and print on demand has made it so much easier to become an author,
Right.
meaning back, let's say 30 years ago, it was much, much harder to become an author, whereas now it's much easier. But even though it's easier, most people don't realize how easy or simple, I don't say easy, simple it is, where you can have your own book printed up and print on demand, which is great.
Right, right.
But
It's simple, like getting a six-pack abs, right?
exactly. You know the process, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
And so what I've also realized is having a book, I have four books now, but having the books, they are like calling cards or business cards
Yeah.
that people realize they might not read it. In fact, I get a lot of people that read my books, but they get it in their hands and like, ooh, this guy's accomplished. He has a book, but they don't
Yeah.
realize it's not as hard as it might seem. Now, you put effort into writing a good book that's not going to, flop or be terrible. You want to
Oh
write a
yeah.
good book, but in the end, what it does is also builds you up in other people's minds like, oh man, this guy worked hard, he had a book, this book has to make him legitimate in some way. But I love book writing, so I've written four books now. But then at the same time, what I've also done is I'll spend basically a year doing something to become very, very good at it, very
Yeah.
as good as I can be. So I did four books maybe in like
Yeah.
1 to 2 years. But then at the same time, podcasting, I spent an entire year
Yeah.
just focusing on podcasting to get better at that. Then I spent an entire year doing YouTube, only doing YouTube.
Right.
Fast forward now, there's other things that are out there, but the most recent one too, like when you first question was building a brand. Now I've built up my Instagram account to 240,000 followers, and
Yeah.
I didn't buy any of those. There are no bots
Yeah.
whatsoever. It's hard fought and worked for followers, but I spent an entire year just that's all my focus was. Now, obviously, I have other things going on. I kept still had podcast, still the YouTube, but I wanted to become an expert at each one of these things that now, if I want to go back and write a book, I absolutely can. Does that all make sense?
Oh, 100%. And I love the way you say that it's easier to become an author now with print on demand. I think that it was F. Scott Fitzgerald. His second run of books, they sat in a warehouse almost, I think, until his death. And that was the reality in the old days. They would print out a first printing, the second printing. You can sell one book, and Amazon's happy to do that for you because print it on demand, like you said. I'll also be happy to send you 100 author copies too. But yeah, I love it because I think it's so true. Another thing you hit on, you didn't mention this directly, but it's not about that royalty check. Now that's nice, and I see your books have been successful, but I would bet, dollars to donuts. I mean, that was before inflation, right? But dollars to donuts that you're getting like 10x out of these books, from having more people getting your deals, et cetera, versus that royalty check.
Absolutely. In fact, any little bit of money that I get from the royalty from book sales, it's just, it's great. I mean, it's really good. I'd much rather have it than not. But the I've made so much more money from what the books do
Yeah,
outside of the sales.
right.
Like hands down, because of people, like I said, it's like a business card. It really helps people. In fact, if you write a book, what you really should be doing is carrying two or three copies everywhere you go and just be handing them out.
That's what I say.
Because
If you don't have copies in the back of your truck, you're not an author.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, totally true. And love it. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the process because now this is something that people are starting to come to me and saying, George, how do I write a book? So, I'm actually writing a book about how to write a book right now. And I think that you'd be great because I'm telling everybody, look, one of the reasons why you have to write that book is because the second one is going to be easier. Yes, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. It's like, talking about it's like being like, getting that six pack abs, but you get ripped once in your life and getting ripped the second time is a lot easier. So go out and do it. And then, the second, it's going to be like 1/10 as hard. I had no idea how to write a book. Then I met people who can coach you on this. I read the book. I didn't buy the $5,000 coaching, but just reading that and then me having to research how to write a book, I'm thinking, man, if I had known this when I was writing my book, it would be 1,000 times easier. So, a couple of things I'd like to ask you. The first is, what was your biggest block in getting that first book out?
Wow. Okay. So the biggest block. So I'm a very driven person. When as soon as I set my sights on something, I can't sleep. Like just how I am. I can't sleep until I get done. But the only things that really blocked me were it wasn't the writing, because honestly, I think everybody can write. I think everybody, as long as you can, I mean, if you went to high school, you learn how to create an outline, especially for nonfiction. You learn how to create an outline, you know where somebody's starting, you know where the end point is, and you can fill in the blocks, and then you just tell stories. That's really the best thing you should do is tell stories that fill into the key points. So the writing wasn't the hardest part. I think the hardest part was like the formatting of the book and editing. So editing and formatting, those two things kind of go, or not kind of, they do go together. Editing is one whole ball of wax, but then formatting the book to make sure that every page lines up. And if you mention, hey, on page 83, that this is what I talked about, but if the pages change and it doesn't work, so the formatting is really tough. So hiring somebody, and it doesn't cost that much. There's plenty of
Right.
freelance sites that somebody can do it, but then editing was a big one because I absolutely hate. I'll say this again. I hate watching or reading things that I've done in the past. If I've already done it, I don't, it's like pulling teeth. I'm like, oh, I don't want to read this all over again. And so what I do is I have other people read it, edit it, proofread it. And
Yeah.
then when they say, hey, here's a section you need to like actually read and redo, good. I don't have to read the whole thing. Tell me exactly what I need to do. But it's the editing and the formatting.
Yeah, 100% true. And it's funny, I think I'd probably list the same thing. I mean, I had my launch date because I thought, okay, this freelancer says it'll be 3 days. I'll give myself like a month. And, wouldn't you know that I was having to kick the can down the road because I was on my third formatter by the time the job was finally done. So, yeah, I tell people, look, if you're good with Word, you can do your paperback, you can do your hardcover edition, but that ebook, if you got 100 figures in there like I do, and it's fancy and I had figure legends. Oh my goodness, that was just off the charts. So yeah, formatting, but you get a good formatter. But that's one of the things people get with my book. When you buy my book about writing a book, I will tell you who I used. But if
What's
you can't, you have to
what's the
reach
book
out. I'm
called
not.
and when is it coming out?
So I haven't decided yet. So my first one, of course, is Passionate Living Through Passive Investing. I was thinking something like self-publish it. Your words can change the world. Or it's hard because there are so many, so many, so many great books. Self-published Millionaire. My wife said, sorry, that's already been taken. She says, you ought to call your book The Multifamily Millionaire. I'm saying, sorry, that one's also taken. But I don't know exactly what I'll call it. But I mean, I think the main thing is there's so many people that are like us. They have a business, they have a story to tell. And I love what you said about how you become an expert in something for a year and then you go write a book about it. That's kind of what I did. I was almost 2 years into my Argentine tango journey, and I said I have to talk about this. Now I haven't done my first exhibition yet, but upcoming. Wait for it. But I'm living my life, and I realized that's the story. The story is not that I went out and that I had this free time and that I won some award. No, it's that I really get to live the life that of my dreams. And I thought, bingo, that's the hook. I've got my book. I'm going to write this thing now. So yeah, the next one is not going to mention anything about Argentine tango, or maybe even sailing. Who knows? I might be on a third hobby by then. All
So
right.
you
So
have the
yeah.
one book,
So
you have another one coming out, and this book is going to be helping people to write books. Is that something that's going to be like you're going to be coaching that as well?
So I thought about that. One of my favorite coaches is Julie Broad, Julie the Book Broad. And I looked into the books that she's written, and the first book she wrote was actually about real estate. I thought, no, I was thinking about that. I thought, what would it be like? I mean, I'm having fun with this process, and I have ready access to a large audience that I know is looking to do this. I'm not going to elaborate on that here. So I'm thinking, this could become a business for me. I thought, bingo. Now, not only do I find out that there's somebody who's really done it just literally from real estate to publishing, but actually very entertaining too.
And that's the like it's a natural progression. Like if you could write a book that helps somebody get what they want, for me, like How to Quit Your Job, the rental properties was my first book. Second book was Successfully Unemployed. And so people were asking me, because I wrote it honestly, the first book, How to Quit Your Job with Rental Properties, because I just wanted to give it out to people because people are asking me how to invest.
Right.
And so I just wanted to give it to people because everybody has great questions, but they're beginner questions. And
Yeah.
so I would be answering over and over and over and over again the same question, like, here, now read this book. And then when you have different questions that apply to you, then we can talk. And then that's when everything took off with Master Passive Income, where I know, coach thousands of people, have large, 500 person events and all that sort of stuff now because it started with a book. Honestly, did.
Right. And that's one of the things that I like to talk about because when you write a book, some people just write a loss leader and that's garbage. You can tell immediately the cover sucks, the formatting is off, and it just they don't even have a hook. It's just like, hey, this is what I did. But I think that you really have the best of both worlds. You wrote four amazing books, and then what you did is you made an abridged version of, I think it's The Secrets of, so I think it's called How to Quit Your Job with Rental Properties. And then you made an abridged version and you give that away on Kindle Unlimited. So you're still getting paid for it, but you got it into the maximum number of hands. And you've also got some great selling books too. So I think that's great. I think, maybe I need to go and follow that same route.
It really helps. I mean, so with the abridged version, basically it's the free one that it's really, really good. Like it basically stripped down, gets rid of the stories. Like if somebody just wants like exactly step by step, that gets them as a primer to get into the other things. And so, like you said, what I wanted to do was make sure that it was basically a lead magnet. Basically, anybody who wants to work with me,
Yeah,
they have to start someplace that
sure.
gives them something for free. I love giving away free things because in the end they realize, hey, Dustin really wants to help. Like that's his main
Yeah.
goal. So I've been doing my podcast. It's a solo show, the Master Passive Income podcast since 2016. Just me teaching, just talking about how I invest. And people binge all my shows and in the end say, Dustin, you've given so much. Like I want to start working with you. Like I want to get coached by you. I want you to help me. I want to be around your network and everybody. And so it really, like honestly, if I point back to everything I've ever done, the podcast is great, but it started with a book. And so
Good. All right, so this has been such an amazing interview. I don't know if we're even going to get to the rapid fire round, but I do have to ask you some deep questions, some questions that really get to how you're different than other people. I would like to know what are some of the values that have animated your climb to the top of the greasy pole known as real estate?
it has to be determination. Number one, like, because are times, and for you listening, you're gonna have times where things start, get in your way, or life starts getting in the way, or something, something sets you back. Well, if you give up, then you're failing twice. Because I was just talking to my kids yesterday. I love educating my kids. We homeschool. We have 5 kids, and my wife does all the hard work of homeschooling the kids. I have the easy job of making money. But one of the lessons was if you fail one time, then it's not a failure because you're learning a different way to do it. Like this way didn't work. Let me figure out another way to do it. But you fail twice if you just give up and you don't learn that lesson. So for me, it's determination, learning from my mistakes. I learn more from my mistakes and my quote unquote failures than any of my wins.
Mhm. Beautiful. So, what about radical transparency, the courage to face truths no matter how ugly they may be?
So I am, and this is what every single person that ever sees me in live events that I put on or meet me in person, they say you're the same person on the podcast,
Yeah.
the coaching, in the books, in live. Honestly, like the reason why, like I put on my large real estate investing conference called Income Building Live, we get 3, 4, 500 people at a time, and every single person that I see, my world stops. It's just that person in front of me. Even though I got so many other things in my brain, I give them as much attention as I can because they're the only person in my world right now. I would hate, and I've met people, and everybody knows that saying, "Don't meet your heroes," because you'll be disappointed. I don't want that ever for anybody for me. So I give them as much attention I can. But yeah, so as being as transparent as possible, I'm the same person because you can only pretend to be somebody else for so long. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you.
All right, beautiful. And that's funny because I was just about to mention that you also wrote another book, Lasting Marriage, Discovering God's Meaning and Purpose. And when I saw that title, I thought, wait, I have to make sure this is the same guy. But of course it makes sense because you seemed like one of those values guys just from the very moment that I started to learn about who you were.
Totally. Yeah, so when everything starts for me comes from the Bible. I've been a Christ follower since
Mhm.
14 years old. So it's quite a lot, 30 plus years now. And but yeah, everything that I do stems from how I can serve other people. In fact, my favorite, I guess, verse in the Bible is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so I treat everybody as best as I can because that's what I would want them to do for me. And so 100%, that's exactly the direction that I go as I try to be as focused on serving the other person as possible.
Beautiful. I love it. And you lived it too. That's why you're able to raise capital. You didn't just say, hey, I'm going to raise capital and then build a funnel. You built a funnel and you said, hey, you know what? I could use this to raise capital. All
Exactly.
right, I love it. So, hey, let's head into the lightning round. So, on a scale of one to Superman, how would you say your lightning round skills are?
Oh, I'm actually pretty decent. Pretty decent. I get
Okay.
some curveballs in there, but or I get thrown some curveballs. But you know what's funny? I'll say this one thing. You brought up Superman. I've done this for as long as my kids have been alive. Whenever we go to parties, you get a little red cup that you always write your name on.
Yeah.
Guess what name I always put on it? I've always put on it.
Yeah. Superman.
Superman,
S. Yeah.
100%, because nobody else is going to put
I
Superman.
thought the
So
S was for successfully unemployed.
there you go.
All right. Could go either way with that. Okay. All right, Dustin, if you could be known for just one thing, what would that be?
Being a Christ follower, number one. That's by far. I love sharing the gospel with people. I love because for me, in the end, I am blessed that I believe and know now that I'll be in heaven, and so I want to share with everybody else that I know that there's a heaven. And one quick thing I'll share. So sadly, my father passed away about a week and a half ago, and very sad. But here's the amazing thing: for 76 years, I was sharing the gospel or sharing the Bible to him, completely rejected it over and over again. Then he was passing away, or like he was getting on his deathbed. He was in the hospital and everything. And I shared with him again. And he said, "No, I don't want anything to do with it." And I'm like, "Dad, you're about to die." He said, "I don't care. I'm about to die." Then here's the amazing thing that happened. The night after I shared the gospel, I shared about God with him. He almost died. I basically died. His oxygen fell out. The nurse revived him. And he says, "Dustin," I talked to him the next day, "I went to hell." I said, "What do you mean you went to hell?" Because he doesn't talk like that. That's not normal conversation for him. And he said, "Yeah, there was a black, like I died, and there was a blackness that was drawing me in. I was resisting." I said, "Dad, were you scared?" He's, "I was terrified, and I knew I didn't want to go there, but now I know that there's a hell." And so from that, he realized because he couldn't see or understand the spiritual nature. So for me, the number one thing for me is like, I want everybody to know I'm a Christ follower. I'm going to share it with everybody. And so my dad repented. He put his faith in God. And I said, "Hey, at least we'll be in heaven together." So if you boil everything down, that's exactly what I want everybody to know me as.
It's an amazing story. I hope you don't mind me bringing it full circle, but of course that's why we canceled the first one. And so amazing to just to hear that. That's powerful, Dustin. Powerful, powerful. I don't even know how to follow that up. But I mean, back to real estate. What's one mistake that has taught you the most?
Oh, okay. In real estate?
In life is fine. Let's just open it wide.
Well, okay. So honestly, like whenever I get asked the question, "What's your favorite book?" It's by far the Bible. The reason why
Okay.
the Bible is there's so many stories in there that are applicable to life, to treat
Yeah.
people better, to honestly even to make money, to take care of your health. And
Yeah.
so I would say the thing that's I've learned from the most is absolutely the Bible. I read it every day, multiple times a day. I read it to my kids. Been doing it for 14 years. Every single night we read the Bible together, but it just helps me to be a better, I would say, person first, but also a Christ follower, a better person following Christ that I could then serve more people.
Great. I love it. If you don't mind, I'll share a couple with you. My word is my bond from the book of Mark. And then from, oh gosh, now it's going to be the Psalms. I think it was that, see the man who is diligent in his labor, he shall stand before kings. So a lot to think about there. And yeah, it's
Absolutely.
not, I don't know how to say it, but I mean, having values, it obviously enhances anything that you do in life. All right.
Well,
Well,
I think
again, as
there's
usual,
a quote that says, yeah, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything.
sure. And that happens. I hate to say it, but I'm afraid I think people who are a little too secular have fallen for just about anything these days. But anyway, as usual, I'm glad you lightened it up because I was about to say it's sometimes hard to go from these profound questions to these more whimsical questions, but these are the totally. I have no idea. This could be deep or it could be totally whimsical. So tell me when to stop cutting the deck.
One more cut. There you go.
All right. So now the top card at this moment is, how do you define success?
Oh, so how I define success is whatever goal that I put in front of myself before I embark on something. Give you an example. When I was 26 years old, 26, 27-ish, I said, I want to quit my job in 10 years. That's my goal. And I strive every single day and I try not to lose vision or sight of my goal. And then success is when I reach that goal. And that's how I define success. It's not just playing the game. In fact, I love playing games. I love, playing sports. I love all that sort of stuff. But if I don't win, my perspective is I need to learn how to play better so I could
Yeah.
win the next time. And so I think the game of life is something that you have to set yourself a goal that you're going to do in life and then strive every single day. It's going to help you to get out of bed. It's going to help you to move forward in life and not feel like life is just drudgery or like, oh, I'm just on a hamster wheel of life.
Yeah, I love it. That's just amazing. I could say so much about that, but I think we got to move on. So can you give us one tip or trick that investors can implement in their business today?
Well, the biggest thing that you're going to have to do if you are going to invest in real estate, actually, this is business in general, is you need to build a business first before you buy any inventory. Just like if you're starting a convenience store or, a brick and mortar store, you need to make sure your business can run. You have the right people in place, you have the right, let's say, funding in place or whatever it might be, but you got all the right aspects of your business before you buy any inventory. Same thing with real estate investing. We build the entire business to make sure we have experts doing the work for us. That's the key. I don't want to do any work. So I hire experts to do all the work. But you do not buy a property and then try to find people, because then what if you bought the wrong property?
Yeah.
Instead, you find the right people first and you say, hey, I'm looking to buy this property. Tell me how much it will rent for. What's the vacancy factor? Will you manage it? Well, if they say no, I won't manage it because I'll get shot there, then you don't waste your time and money and effort. Instead, if they say yes, I will manage it, this is how much it will rent for. What I suggest, build a business first, hire the experts before you do anything with your inventory.
Love it. And now when it comes to a book that every investor should read, do you have a number two?
Number two, okay. Number one is the Bible, obviously. Number two, I love like being financially literate, and The Richest Man in Babylon is one of the best things because it's written by George S. Clausen. It's a fictional book, but teaches financial principles that are time tested. I had my kids read it. I've read it many times, but that is an amazing book that everybody should read.
Hugely cool book. I love it. I've read it. And if you could just send us out with a quote to help forge our listeners as leaders, entrepreneurs, and investors.
The quote that I'm going to give you is it's more of a proverb. When is the best time to plant a tree? Well, it
Hmm.
was 20 years ago. The next best
Right.
time is literally today. Same thing with real estate investing, same thing with entrepreneurship, same thing, anything in life. The best time was 20 years ago, but the next best time is today. So if you don't plant that tree today, if you don't buy that first property, if you don't start working in your business today, you're going to think 20 years from now, oh my goodness, I wish I would have done this 20 years ago. I was listening to George's amazing podcast. I should have done it, but I didn't. No, you don't want to be that person. You want to be the person that says, I'm so glad 20 years ago I did this. I took action, and then now looking back, it was all worth it because my life is now amazing.
I love it. And I've said it 1,000 times, but I know we got to go. And I just want to thank you so much for taking your time to share your knowledge and experience with our audience. All good things must come to an end. Just one final question. I just want to make sure that if our listeners want to become successfully unemployed or want to master passive income, how do they get in touch with Dustin Heiner?
Awesome, George. Hey, would you mind if I gave everybody a real estate investing course completely for free?
Oh, I would love it.
Awesome. Well, my goal is to help 1 million people to invest in real estate. I make my money through real estate. I just want to share this with you. If you text the word rental, RENTAL, rental to 33777, rental to 33777, or you can go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course. All one word, masterpassiveincome.com/free course. I'm going to give you my course, show you how to find anywhere in the country to invest, how to build the business first, how to scale it to become financially independent. So you can also find me on my podcast. Like I said, it's a solo show, just me giving it. It's Master Passive Income. Just search. Actually, if you search real estate investing on Apple, you'll find me. I'm usually number one, which is fantastic. But here's a great thing. You can even find me on Instagram. I've actually had a lot more fun on Instagram, like I shared. And so you can follow me or even just DM me. I love chatting with, say you found me on George's podcast, but the Dustin Heiner, Dustin Heiner, love to help as many people as possible. But George, thank you so much for having me on your awesome podcast, man.
All right. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much. Take care.